Think of the human organism as an integrated system divided into two distinct parts. You have the physical biology, the hardware, and the mind, which acts as the software, running on psychology and accumulated knowledge. The primary function of this mental software is straightforward. It captures experiences from the outside world, processes them, and records them. Without it, sensory input would simply bounce off us, leaving no trace. But modern life has introduced a severe anomaly. We are subjected to a relentless influx of information pouring in from social interactions, education, and an endless feed of digital platforms. The system is severely bloated. We are trained from childhood to constantly judge, discriminate, and categorize every piece of data we encounter. This ceaseless sorting process creates thick, dense layers of knowledge over our baseline perception. This relentless acquisition and constant judgment generate massive internal friction. The mental software becomes burdened by conflicting desires and goals, burning immense energy, even when the physical hardware, the body, is sitting perfectly safe in a quiet room. Eastern traditions have a specific term for this continuous layering of psychological conditioning: samskara. Every time you form a new desire, set a new goal, or internalize a societal expectation, you pack another heavy layer onto this existing psychological structure. The trap is that we try to fix this mental clutter by acquiring even more information. We read spiritual texts or study psychological models, hoping to clear the mind, but this simply adds new layers of conditioning on top of the old ones. The result is a persistent, invisible state of exhaustion and misery. Because the root of this fatigue is entirely conceptual, no amount of sleep or physical medicine can resolve it. The mind is suffocating under the weight of its own accumulated data. To understand what is actually happening inside this biological system, we need a way to objectively measure and diagnose the density of this internal friction. And this brings us to a specific metric used to gauge this mental pollution: the Thought Quality Index, or TQI. You can think of it exactly like the Air Quality Index, or AQI, which cities use to measure the concentration of physical particulate matter in the atmosphere. This visualization illustrates internal pollution. Visualizing a high index of 500, chaotic particulate matter makes breathing an immense physiological effort. Now watch as the index drops to a pristine 10. The heavy, chaotic particles vanish, allowing the space to pulse easily. Thoughts function exactly like that air. They are a constant biological necessity for navigating the world, but it is the density, conflict, and quality of those thoughts that dictates the actual health of the human system. A high TQI is driven by intense internal conflict. It spikes when the mind is obsessed with self-improvement and the relentless pursuit of goals. For centuries, people have turned to traditional religious frameworks, temple rituals, or rigorous yoga practices to try and lower this internal pressure. But this approach contains a critical mechanical error. Setting a goal to become better or enlightened is inherently an additive process. It injects a fresh layer of ambition and conflict into the software. It is like trying to mop a muddy floor using fresh dirt. Certain radical thinkers throughout history, like UG Krishnamurti, recognize the trap of this goal-oriented thinking. They outright refuse to offer their followers any new models or methods for self-improvement. They understood that genuine mental clarity is not the act of logically defeating an opponent or arriving at a brilliant conclusion. Clarity is a state where the mind is completely devoid of a destination. When the urge to reach a destination vanishes, the mind's internal momentum stalls. The TQI drops naturally because the mechanism that generates new layers of conditioning has nothing left to accumulate. When the mental software finally drops its goals and the TQI naturally plummets, the physical reaction is immediate. The physical body is entirely unburdened. It is no longer forced to burn energy processing the torturous, fluttering friction of conflicting thoughts and desires. The system enters a state of dynamic equilibrium, known in Eastern thought as ahaituka anandam, a deep, causeless happiness. This occurs with zero external triggers. There is no chemical substance involved, no sudden financial windfall, and no new personal achievements to celebrate. This well-being reflects the natural baseline of the body. It appears the moment the friction of thought is removed, revealing a state of health that was previously buried under layers of mental activity. The highest ideal of this low TQI philosophy is a completely frictionless state called samskara shashav, which translates to information arriving and passing through without leaving a permanent impression. To understand this, imagine an elderly patient with severe memory loss holding a deeply moving handwritten letter. As they read, they experience complete, genuine emotional resonance. Every single sentence registers with profound clarity and impact in the exact moment it is read. But there is a mechanical twist. Upon finishing a line, they instantly forget it. Because the information is wiped clean the second it passes, the joy never has the chance to calcify into a memory, an expectation, or a new psychological burden. Psychological emancipation manifests as the ability to engage fully with the chaotic flow of life. Information passes through the system without obstruction, leaving the biological hardware completely untouched.